Hello, 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 everybody. This is Maggie Evans. I'll give everybody another minute to go ahead and hop on. It looks like we have good attendance today. This is for the Seller Weekly Update. It's back webinar. So I'll give everybody just a minute as we're getting on. Go ahead and use the chat feature. I've got the chat up. It should be open to everybody. So go ahead and hop into chat and let me know where there we go. Love it, love it, love it. So I can see who all is there. Make sure that everybody can hear me okay. And that's good. Excellent. There we go. Hey, cousin. Hey, cousin Ronnie. Good to see you. Good to see you. That's so funny. He's not really my cousin, but there could be a chance there. So good to see everybody. Go ahead and hop on. Where are you all coming in from? Go ahead and tell me where you're coming in. Good. Winston-Salem is represented today. We got Center City, Fort Mill. Carol, do you have any folks with you? And there we go. Excellent. Susan, High Point. Awesome. Okay, good deal. So we've got everybody coming in. I will officially start. Welcome to this webinar, which is all about the Seller Weekly Update. It's back. Now, hopefully it did not go away completely, but this is a great time to talk about the Seller Weekly Update. And if you have a listing, you know this is something that you should be doing on a regular basis. On the drive in this morning, I was listening to Gary Scott's reality podcast. If you have not had an opportunity to listen to any of those podcasts, I highly suggest that you go to Spotify or I think it's on Amazon and Google Play. It's in all the places. Look for the reality podcast with Gary Scott. And the reason I bring it up is I was listening to his interview this morning with Brooke Passion out of our Kernersville office. And a question that he asked her, he always, what are some of the keys to business when he's talking to one of our successful agents? And when he was talking to her about keys to her business, this is what she said. And I thought, oh, this is perfect. I've got to mention it this morning. It was, and I'm not saying it exactly right, Brooke, if you're listening, but it was about following through on our promises and making sure that we are keeping our seller up to date before they ask for it. And when we do that, it helps us to keep control of our business and our time. And I really liked how she put it, and I probably didn't say it just right, but what I took away was if we can proactively get our clients the information that they could potentially be asking for, then it's actually going to save us time and they feel more taken care of because we've been able to give them that ahead of time. Oh, thank you for telling me it's my birthday. Yep, Nadine, it's my birthday. Thank you for that. I wasn't going to mention it. But yeah, it's my birthday. I couldn't be in a better place. So you use the chat here. Do you all agree with that? If you are able to give your clients the information and updates ahead of time, it actually makes them feel better, lets them know that you know and that you care, and then also can really save you time. So when we look at, I'm going to go ahead and I want to start out with this. And you know, I'm a ninja. Shout out to all my ninjas out there. We do have the Ninja Selling Install coming in October. So if you're watching this right now, then we have that coming in October. And one thing with the Ninja, we say this a lot, and that is it's better to show and not tell. So as we go through today, that's my goal, folks, is that what your takeaway is we're not just telling our sellers what's happening, but we're showing them by giving them something that they can actually review on their own time, and they can come back to you with more questions and we can follow through on our promises. Okay. So when we look at one of the ninja habits that we have, one of the ninja selling habits is to focus on customer service calls weekly. Now, even in the market that we're coming out of or shifting from, we still needed to make customer service calls every week when we have somebody under contract, whether they're a buyer or a seller. But are we making sure that we're updating our sellers that have active listings that have not yet gone under contract? So that is the goal for today, is let's revisit what we send and how we send it. And then I'll also have something new from one of our partners that I'm really excited to show you all about. So give me a thumbs up in the chat if you're ready to get going, and we're going to jump into this. Here's the first thing. Thank you, Celia. Thank you very much. Very good. Here's the first thing. This all starts at the kitchen table with your seller. It starts at the kitchen table with your seller. What is your promise to them? What is your promise to them? That's your value proposition. So if you can say, this is what my mission is for you, this is my value proposition, and then what are the supporting foundation pieces that support that? One of those might be that you're going to make sure that you have really good communication to help reduce stress, and you do that by giving them a weekly update. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't update them every day when something's happening throughout the listing process, but what the seller weekly update is a bringing together of everything that you have communicated, and also maybe some things that you have not. We want to make sure that we always follow through. If we say we're going to do something, we must do it. We must always follow through with what we're going to say. And then we don't want to assume that they already know what it is that we're doing. We need to make sure that we are getting to them before they get to us. And just because they do not ask what it is that we're going to be, just because they don't ask for something or for an update, doesn't mean that they don't want one. So don't ever assume, and I'm not going to make the assume joke. We've all heard it. I just wanted to really bring that home, because sometimes we react in how we would be as a seller, and we just can't do that. And then the other big question that you want to determine in your business, when we're treating our business like a business, what is the day of the week that you do your customer service calls? Now, yes, there is going to be some prep when you're going to be doing those seller weekly updates. And I would suggest that you have it all prepared. You hit send to go to your seller, and then you pick up the phone and you make the phone call. It's not an only. You don't just send that weekly update and say, have at it. No, it needs to be a send and then a pick up a phone call and follow it through. Okay. What is included in your seller weekly update? I am going to brush the surface, and what I need is, when I'm done, I want you to be thinking about what you would include in a seller weekly update, so that when I'm done, if I forgot anything, because I may have missed something here, then you can also chime in so we can make this a group effort. I'm going to start on a broad level and really look at your marketing activities. Now, as you have a listing go live, every single item that you had on your marketing plan list, if you have a 20-point marketing plan list, you need to make sure that your seller can go down that list and check off those things and see that it's done. And then this weekly update is bringing all of that together to say that it was done. So as an example, if you have already, maybe you already sent them the link to their allentate.com property website. Make sure that you do that. Do not assume that they know that it's there. Make sure that they can go, that they have received in an email anywhere that you can find that their home is listed, so that they can see the marketing that you've done. Okay. You also want to send them the digital ad. So if you have the high resolution photos loaded, you've got that AdWorks digital ad going out, make sure that they receive a copy of that. You can go into your AdWorks account and add their email address so that it appears everywhere, all over their phone and on their computer. And then don't forget that you can also give the results. So are they getting that update on the digital advertising results? If you're taking notes, you have to scribble fast, okay? Another marketing activity, you know what, I didn't think about this. It's kind of fun going through this weekly update, because here's the other thing that might be happening right now is you might go, oh, you know what? I haven't been doing that. So you can't give this update about market activity unless you're actually doing this, but maybe there's something here that might jog your mind about an activity that you need to do. So if you are sending out those just listed postcards, yes, it's going to go to your seller at their home, but let them know they have been sent out. And then if you do receive any hits off of the QR code, let them know that not only that you received some hints from the postcard, but that you also have responded to any of those inquiries. When is your open house scheduled? Making sure that they know that that's coming, but then don't forget the follow-up after. Once it has completed, how many people came through? How many guests were there? What was the feedback that you received? Now, remember in Spacio, you can use, if you're using that event registration, you can pull that seller report and send them that report. So you have that as an option. So we've gone through a couple of things here right off the bat, where you might have some reports that you can pull to give to your seller. The key is giving them the immediate notification that something's happened, but then also the follow-up that kind of brings it all together so that they can see it in one place. Did you send the just listed email announcement out of Engage CRM? If you didn't, remember that listing announcement is really about introducing your sphere, the people that know you, like you, trust you, and are in flow with you about your new listing, but it is another opportunity to be in front of folks. So did you send that out? Let them know, include them in the send. And what other special marketing activity did you talk about in your listing appointment that you followed through with, so that you could give them, so that you're able to execute on all of the marketing plan that you had suggested? So that could be that there was a business that was nearby and you were going to go and market to that business. Did you do it? It could be, I don't know, somebody else, give me something else, another marketing activity. I know that I'm missing a lot. That's just an example, something specific. Maybe it was that you reached out to all the realtors that have sold a home in that neighborhood in the last 2 years, that you reached out to them personally to say, hey, I see you've done business in the neighborhood, and I have a new opportunity in the neighborhood. If you have a buyer, please call me. Those are the examples of other special marketing activity. Now let's get into showings. Oh, look at that, Celia. You were just reading my mind. Let's go. So it was the showing time report. What are you sending them on feedback? You could certainly use the listing activity report. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of showing time, but we want to be careful with the feedback that our seller sees. If it's directly from somebody, I would preview that seller feedback, the buyer feedback before we give it to our seller. But there is a listing activity report that you can send to your seller. As a synopsis though, what were the number of showings this week? Maybe you followed up with them after every showing and said, here is the feedback, but you want to give them a summary. How many showings did we have this week? And then what is the feedback that you're getting? Now, I will tell you that there are also some reports in showing time that can show showing activity, which can be a really good report for you to watch and decide, are you going to send it every week, or is it something you do once a month if you had to? It shows an increase or a decrease in showing activity. And you can also have it broken down by price point. So it could help a seller see, I don't have an example here. I didn't think to put that in here. It just popped in my head. But you can show at different price points the number of showings. You can find this in showing time under reports, and it might show your seller, if we're really close to a bridge in pricing, if we just dropped it that touch, we could increase our number of showings. Weekly report summarizing that. What else am I missing? What about reverse prospecting? I mentioned that I'm going to reach out to agents that have had buyers or activity. It could be listings or buyers in that neighborhood in the last 2 years, but I also can do some reverse prospecting activity. Now I'll tell you, there might be some information here you didn't even know you had access to. And so if that's the case, I want you to make a note and set up a time with your MTS to take a look at these opportunities. Most of us know that your MLS has reverse prospecting for a listing. Now, I don't know if all MLSs have it. So if you're outside of Canopy MLS, check with your branch leader or other agents in your office and find out if that's a possibility, where you're reaching out to another agent that has a buyer with a search that matches your seller's listing. Did you know that you can also do reverse prospecting in Real Scout? If you have a listing, you can go in and see your listing, and you can actually reverse prospect to agents within Allen Tate, but also other agents that are in your marketplace that use Real Scout that are outside of Allen Tate. Yes, there are other companies that use Real Scout. That's actually the beauty of it. The more people that use it, the better and richer the buyer data is. So you have an opportunity for that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to get in touch with your MTS. And then the other option that you have is in buy side. Now, Real Scout is looking at the other agents that have buyers with searches set up just in Real Scout. And within buy side, it can pull them in. And if you have a listing, you go in, you claim that, you look at that listing, and then you can see matches. You see buyer matches. You don't see the buyer name. You don't see the buyer name in Real Scout or MLS either. You're seeing the agent that has the buyer. And in buy side, you have the ability to see those agents, and then you can reach out to them. But what I want to say on this reverse prospecting is to make sure that if you're doing any reverse prospecting to an agent that has an active buyer, well, they're probably getting some type of a search alert. So don't just say, hey, it looks like we have a match. I would be really specific about what makes your house stand out. Why do they need to make sure that they get with their client about your listing, about your seller's home? So make it stand out a little bit. Good so far. I want to make sure we're good to go there. And if you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A instead of the chat. Chat sometimes can get filled with just fun comments. So if you have a question, please feel free to put it in the Q&A, and then I'll take a look at that in just a minute. So we've talked about reverse prospecting. So far we've talked about marketing activities. What are all of your marketing activities? And you really should be able to go to your marketing list and just go down the list and make sure you're communicating it all. What are the showings that are happening? What about agents that have buyers that match your seller? That's the reverse prospecting. And then the other question, or what other updates can you send them? It could be realtor.com activity. If you go into your listing there, you can see that activity there of how many people have clicked on the property. And then if this is a luxury property, you can go into Lux Exchange and use their Lux Analytics to see not only who has looked at it. What I love about the Lux Analytics, you can see what countries and I believe what states that these searches are coming from, the matches where people are looking at your property. When they're clicking on a property detail, it's a great visual for your seller. Okay. What have I missed so far about what you would include about a market update? Feel free to put that in a chat. And if you have any questions, I'm going to stop here for just a second. Do we have any questions that need to come into the Q&A? I don't see any actively. So I'm going to pause for just a second, make sure there aren't any. I'm going to keep on going. Looks like we're good. Okay. This is something I'm really excited about. Let me make sure that I am on. Oh, I forgot something before I did my big announcement. This is one that we want to make sure that we're doing every week with our seller. And that is, see, nobody mentioned it, is are we giving them a short CMA? So we need to make sure that we're not only doing all of our marketing activities, but are we keeping them up to date on the market and market changes? Are we having some market changes right now? Yes. I was talking to an agent the other week and they said, I sit down with my seller, their house has been on the market for a month. So I sit down with the seller and I look at price reductions. We look at price reductions every week. What are the number of price reductions that are in our within our criteria, and we talk about it so that the seller can have an understanding of what's happening. So what do we include in a short CMA? Who is the new competition? Is there anybody new that's come on the market in the last week? Now, I suggest that your seller has a search set up maybe with Real Scout if they are actively listed, where they get updates on any new activity, maybe a daily report, or they can see any activity. So when you send them the new competition and you send it in your short CMA, this is not the first time they've seen it, but you do want to show them the new competition. And with the new competition, what does that mean for us, for this listing? Do we look better? visually as far as condition? Do we look better as price? Or did we just make them look better? Are we priced higher than where they are in comparison? And so that's going to be the next one to sell. We always want to be the next one. What does that competition mean? The next one, what has recently gone under contract? What's recently gone under contract, that means that there was a buyer in our marketplace. And here's the thing, hold on a second. When we're talking about this short CMA, I would be careful to make it just the neighborhood. At this point, we're concerned about what buyers are doing right now. Can that be outside of their neighborhood? Yes. So we need to be doing this short CMA, in my, this is a Maggie opinion, okay, on our competition with buyer's eyes, right? If a buyer's in the market looking and this house is going to come up, what's that criteria? That's what the short CMA should be helping us to see. Who's the competition? Who went under contract recently? Because what just happened? We just lost a buyer. Did we even have a chance at it? We may not know that. But anytime somebody goes under contract before we do, it means that a buyer liked it better. Was it because of price or was it because of condition? We need to be able to answer that for the seller. And then also, the next thing that we want to make sure that we include is anything that recently closed. Anything that recently closed. If we had a discussion about that property at the time of listing and we were watching it and we knew it was under contract, when it closed, what did it end up closing for? And does that affect where we are currently priced? New competition, newly under contract, recently closed, and then recently reduced. This is something that if you're not already including this, I would include it in our weekly update to the seller because they need to see if prices are being reduced, then that's happening. I was just looking in a zip code here in South Charlotte. There were 126 active properties and there were something like between 25 and 30 price reductions on those properties. Would I have seen that 2 months ago? No, I did not see that 2 months ago. So are we talking about right now in this marketplace, what is being reduced? Okay, let me stop here. Any questions? We good on the CMA? I'm going to make sure I'm not seeing any activity. Give me a thumbs up. You want me to keep going? No questions. All right. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to keep on talking. Feel free to put something in the chat. Okay, so now this is the good stuff. So this is what we have for today. This is brand new. This is brand new for you. And we now are excited to offer a new seller activity report, a seller activity report. So this is a seller activity report. This is intended to be for our active sellers, meaning they have an active listing agreement right now and they're probably on the MLS. Okay, they're on the MLS. This is not a stay in touch tool for people that own a home. That's a market update, neighborhood news, completely different. I don't want to confuse anybody. Hold on a second, I got a call. Sorry, I've been talking for 3 hours. So let's talk about this new seller activity. This is something that you're able to send daily, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. Now, if this is an active listing, my suggestion is that you're probably going to send this weekly. You might start out sending it daily. If you change to weekly, I would tell your seller, we've been on the market for a week. I'm going to change this to a weekly update, but I would communicate it. I wouldn't just make the change. I wouldn't just make that change. So you might do it weekly. That means also that if you're going to send it, I would not set this up on day one of your activity. You're marketing the property unless you're going to do it daily. If you're only going to do it weekly, then I would wait the first week so that you have plenty of data and information in the report to go to your seller. Now, it is going to be an active report, so they can always go back to the email and click on it at any time and see the latest. So just be thoughtful in how you're going to set this up and when you're going to send it. If it's something that you need to add to your checklist, which I would suggest that it is, consider when it is you're going to send it so that you have the right notification. You can add marketing activity. Everything that I just went through earlier, you have the ability to add text, comments with marketing activity with a date stamp. Now, if it is a report that can automatically be sent, so if it's something from AdWorks or some other site that has a report, you could send that straight to the seller. But if you want to let them know that you have, open house is scheduled for this Saturday, or I completed the open house last Saturday and we had a number of guests and whatever, you can certainly do that, or any of kind of the marketing checklist items. You can also subscribe all of your sellers. So if you have multiple sellers, 2 sellers, they can both receive the report. And you can also make sure to CC yourself so that you receive a copy of the report. Be strategic about this. Do you have everything going out all at one time? Do you have it staggered throughout the week? That's up to you, but you just want to be strategic about that. What's included? Now, Marlon, this is a sample property here that we were able to do the report for. I wanted you to get an idea. This is what your buyer would see. When they view the full report, they don't have to log in. They can go in and just see their full report. It's branded to you, and it's got the property information. There is an active listing activity that you can look at right here. There's listing activity. This is also active. So if you were in the live report, you can move over this and see. Now, something I would suggest that you do is that if you can capture some of this, you could also use this later on when you're talking to other sellers about the importance of being ready day one, because it's when we're going to have the most eyes on the property. Mark Bardot calls that our piranha pool of buyers. We could use that later on. This is able to show the seller the activity that we have. You can add in your comments. This is what it looks like. So anytime you add information and hit add comment, it's going to make a separate entry for all of your comments. Here's how your home has been marketed. And then it's going to have supply side trends. If you look over here to the right, median sold value, number of homes, and average square foot. And it's going to go back to July of 21. So it's going to do a range there. And then also recent nearby sales. The number of homes that are going to be listed here is really going to depend on the activity. Remember, all of the websites now that show activity are all going to be, they all move, and there's I'm sure a good IT word for this, but it's going to change and zoom in and zoom out based on the number of results, so that you want to have some results. So if there's not been much activity, it might zoom out a little bit. If there's been a lot of activity within a certain area, it might zoom in even more. And if I was in the live report, you would be able to scroll through this and see everything that's included. It's really easy to set up and send to your seller. You would go into Moxie, and then from there go to buy side. And when you go into buy side on your dashboard, you're going to see right here on your dashboard, you're going to see my listings. Or you can go over and click on my listings, and it's just going to pull this up. If you are not a buy side user, I highly suggest that you go and you take a look at that so you can see all the activity that's happening. So to subscribe your seller, if y'all have questions, I see, go ahead and put the questions in chat or Q&A if you have a question there so that I can get your question. To subscribe your seller, once you click on the property, it's going to look like this. There's going to be a tab here that says seller report. It's going to say seller report. And then from there, you can go right in here and you can fill in all the comments. And then you can, hold on one second. Am I getting an immediate announcement? Hold on. An immediate announcement. Pause. I thought I saw a problem. Okay, never mind. I'm good. Sorry. I had a text and I thought I was having a problem. To subscribe your seller, you can put in your comments right here, and you can do this and add comment. I would suggest that you do it as you go. I wouldn't go in on Thursday and put everything into one update. Go ahead and every morning when you're working on your business, go in and add anything that you've done, any of your market activity, add it right there for your seller to see. And then you can also view the report so you can see what it's going to look like. And then of course, this is where you can add your subscriber, your first and last name, email address. This is where you can CC yourself and you can change the frequency. And then if you've already set up your seller and you go back in, it's going to look something like this. You would be able to see on your end, this is the activity that you've added, the comments that you've added. Over here, you can edit or unsubscribe. And then if you hover over the number activity here, you're going to be able to see everything that happened. So we did this in a test environment, so you can see that it was delivered, that it was opened, that it was queued, sent, delivered, opened, and clicked. And so you can see all of that activity. You would be able to see that the activity that's happened there. Now, once the property goes under contract, the update should stop there because there's no longer going to be the internet activity. So let me go back here for just a second. I'm going to go back. The purpose of this seller activity, and I didn't get into this into enough detail, so let me pause here for a second and come back here. The purpose of this is from BuySide, they're pulling in data. So these are listing detail views. On the internet, where are they getting this listing data? And so BuySide has connections with not only Allen Tate and allentate.com, from Real Scout, and then other national and regional brokers through our IDX feeds. So this could be a lot of different websites. Your seller says, well, where are these coming from? You might have to explain IDX and how it works and how all of the information goes out, but they're pulling in that information. And so when you are marketing their property, that's why the photos are important, the description is important, the condition is important, and the price is important, because that's what buyers are seeing to then click on and go through listing detail views. You can see here, you'll be able to see spikes and dips, and you could also see the total since the property went live. So it gives you that information. I realize I'd kind of skipped over the details here of the listing activity, and this is really the core and purpose of this report. Okay, so let me see if I have any questions here. I've got a question. Does it get info from MLS and showing time? So it says yes, that it does come from MLS. So that is good news there. It's getting the, it's going to bring in the property and from all of the showing details that are coming in from the MLS. Absolutely. So we've got that. Any other questions? Any other questions coming through? What did I miss? MTSs that are on the call, what did I miss? What did I miss? Sergio, I see that you have your hand raised. I'm going to go ahead and see. Sergio, did you want to ask a question? Did you have a question that you want to ask? You're good.
No, I'm sorry. I must have hit the wrong button. I apologize.
No, that's okay. You're good.
To give a thumbs up before, and I must
Oh, good. Okay. Excellent. Well, thanks for the thumbs up. Okay, good deal. Anybody else have a question? Okay, so then my question to you all is, what are the next steps? So if you're asking yourself, okay, here it is, what are the next steps? I would suggest that you go through the notes. We do have this recorded, and I can also have the presentation will be with the recording in Tate University. But sit down and go through your marketing plan. You can't see me. I'm looking here at my in front of me. But you want to sit down and go through your marketing plan. Am I communicating this to a seller as it's happening? And then how am I going to communicate it to them once a week all together? Use the seller report in BuySide, go in, look at it, get familiar with it. There's some other good information in there. Maybe you haven't been in there before, and now's a good time to find out. So if you need to sit down with your MTS, please do so. Your MTS will talk about it in your business meetings next Tuesday. And then they also will probably have a group training on how to use it. But really, if you're an active listing agent or will be soon, you want to go in and take a look at the listing section so you at least know where it is so that you're ready to use it. If you don't have any active listings now, that you know where to use it in the future. And then in your task list, make sure that you have your seller weekly update ready, prepared and ready to go. So it's in your task list so that you don't forget it when you have that new listing. Okay. The seller weekly update. It's back. It's back. Okay. and driven to an expired listing to give to them. Okay, oh, that's a good idea. So do a seller market report and buy side, go to expired listings. Great idea, Brian. So you can use that, that information as well. Okay, good deal. So let me see here. Do the seller reports stop after the property is sold? Yes, it does. Thank you, Brad, for asking the question. So that is something, now, that's my understanding. This is just launched. So that's what's supposed to happen, is that the seller report should stop after the property has sold. Let me know if that doesn't happen. Let your MTS know if that doesn't happen. This also is not automated. So it is important for you to go in and put in the comments and then send that out to your sellers. Thank you, Brad, for asking that question. Okay, folks, this was your weekly update. Spend some time on it now that it's done. And thank you for joining me today. We're really all done. So I'll let you go early. It's a shorter webinar today. Thank you all very much. And let's see here. We believe even if, okay. That's so good, Jennifer. Love it. This is great. We believe even if you did it, if you did not communicate, it's like you didn't do it. So let me say that again. Let me put this up here, what she just said. And that was, we believe you. Okay, so here you tell me what it is, but if you don't communicate it, it's like it never happened. So that's exactly right, Jennifer. Thank you very much. And also, Diane and Jennifer had a great podcast with Gary too. So Jennifer, I'll give you that plug. That was fantastic. I've listened to that one as well. Everybody have a great afternoon. Thank you for all of the birthday wishes. Y'all are so sweet. And I will see you next Wednesday is our next Wednesday webinar. It's going to be a ninja panel. So we'll have some of our Allen Tate ninjas to talk about their success from ninja selling, really to promote our October installation. We are running out of spots. So if it's something that you've been you're kind of teetering on and you're considering, yeah, we still have a little over a month, but we are having spots taken on a regular basis. So get in there and get registered, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Go register for that session. See you then. Have a great day, everybody.